As I listened to Governor Calvo's State of the Island address, I was reminded of the story of how Emperor Nero played his lyre while Rome burned.
Tonight, I stand before you to report that the state of our island is strong. However, in the next few days, we'll have to face decisions that will determine whether we continue this great progress already established, or if we allow forces that come from outside, decisions made thousands of miles away, to erode the accomplishments that we've built. As we consider the precipice upon which we are standing now today, we must look at where we started, the progress that we've made, and the challenges that we've overcome, and the new hurdles that seem to pop up unexpectedly, as in today.
We are in dire straits. That's what the message from the governor's office right after he got through telling us how great things were. It's something that we've known for a long time, beginning back with the 2014 and 2015 audit reports showing government of Guam was nearly $120 million in the red on operating budgets. We also learned that the gross domestic product for Guam declined in 2014. Another warning we got was from the Guam Tax Commission, which in 2016 warned the governor and the legislature that the coming Trump tax cuts would severely impact government of Guam. We also saw declines in Guam's biggest tourist market, Japan, which is having a dramatic impact on businesses there in Tumon. We also received notice from Fitch they downgraded Guam bonds. What more warning did our elected officials need that there was something wrong here in Guam? And now, the governor is letting us know that unless he gets an immediate tax increase, payless paydays could start next month. But it's something we're kind of used to with this administration. Back in 2016, Department of Administration used the Child Support Fund to cover payroll, and Department of Education used payroll to cover vendor payments. So this is nothing new, but residents have reason to fear this tax bill, because if this tax bill goes through, it's going to make an already expensive living situation here on Guam become even more expensive as it drives the cost of everything up.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Speaker, I have a comment after listening to the administration officials. The tipping point event for these hearings was the Trump tax cut, and I have seen nothing from the administration or this body preparing for the next shoe to drop, which is the Trump 2019 budget cuts. Earlier projections were ranging between 30 and 35%, but the director of budget for the Trump administration has announced they are looking at tax cuts between 40 and 45% to help offset the cost of the tax cut. So right now, we're here because of the Trump tax cut. The budget cut is coming in 2019, and Government of Guam receives a substantial portion of its funding from federal funds. So are we going to be back here in 6 months for another 50% increase in business tax if that goes through? That's my question, because I don't see anyone in Adelup talking about the budget cuts, and I don't see anybody here in the legislature talking about those as well.
We've discussed it in SES. Thank you very much. This panel is excused.
Taxpayers on Guam have good reason to be concerned about this bill. This is a problem that took years to develop, and our elected officials are trying to throw together a piece of legislation in a matter of days to solve a very complicated problem, raise revenue without doing any of the work to reduce operating expenses. In other words, they want to balance the entire budget deficit on the back of the taxpayers and Guam's workers. And I'm not the only one that feels that way. Let's hear what Andre Bynum from the Guamanians for Fair Government has to say on this issue.
Good evening, Senators, and thank you for allowing the public to be heard on the legislation being proposed to address Guam's dire financial situation. My name is Andre Bynum, and I am here on behalf of Guamanians for Fair Government. We are not Republican, we are not Democrat, we are not for, against any candidate, nor are we running for any elected office. We are concerned citizens of Guam, dedicated to good governance and restoring the people to its rightful place in our government. The financial situation facing the people of Guam is real, and its effects may be damaging to all the people that call Guam home. Therefore, it is your responsibility to moderate the fallout of this financial crisis so that the people are not negatively impacted to a great degree. I say it is your responsibility because leaders, both past and present, are responsible for the predicament we find ourselves in today. Leaders, both past and present, have continued to grow this government year after year, adding agency after agency to provide political patronage to supporters so that they can solidify their hold on the people and thus solidifying their hold on office. As a matter of fact, just last month, this legislature, knowing the financial situation facing our island, passed a law creating a brand new government agency, the Office of Technology, further growing our government. Now you want to raise taxes and cut pay? I say no way. It is easy to blame the federal government, but the truth is you handle the taxes paid by the hardworking people of Guam. You decide how and where it's spent. And what did you decide? In 2014, Lieutenant Governor Ray Tenorio called a special session, and you guys had a party with the people's money, giving yourselves a $40,000 raise. It took 2 years and an election for you to come to your senses and return the people's money. I bring this up because it's indicative of how this government manages the people's money. Sadly, the party's not over, because just last month it was reported that raises in the amount of $30,000 and $40,000 were handed out to Adelup staffers. Now you want to raise taxes and cut pay? I say no way. The mismanagement of tax dollars does not stop with raises, but with the public services it's intended to produce. For example, the people pay taxes to maintain the village roads, and then it's diverted for other purposes. And when the people complain because the roads are in disrepair, you tax the people again to maintain the roads we're already paying taxes on. Now you want to raise taxes and cut pay? I say no way. The hospital has suffered from mismanagement at the highest levels of this government. Ever since, the problems of the hospital have been apparent, yet you blame the poor. You blame and want to investigate the doctors and nurses. But you offer no other solution than supplemental appropriations and borrowing on the backs of the people. You borrow in 2014, you borrow in 2015, you borrowed in 2016 to help the hospital, and it's not enough. And now you want to cut taxes, now you want to raise taxes and cut pay? I say no way. There is no greater example of government waste and excess than with the 19 village mayors and 7 vice mayors of Guam. They have a budget of close to $10 million, a salary with benefits totaling over $100,000 each, a private office, private 24-hour vehicles, a special meeting hall, and a travel budget to attend strawberry festivals in the Philippines. But when the schools which educate their constituents ask them to cut the grass, they say, cut your own grass because you don't have money? Now you want to raise taxes and cut pay? I say no way. There are many more examples of mismanagement, waste, and excess perpetrated on the people by this government. In 2017 alone, $370,000 in executive security overtime pay was used to protect the governor both on and off island. Couldn't this money and resources have been used to protect the true VIPs of Guam, the people? Private 24-hour vehicles, plush rented office space, a large budget with a huge office staff. And oh, did I mention the travel to the Strawberry Festival in the Philippines? Senators, as long as the public servants of this island continue to be more concerned with their longevity in office or their special interest deals or their egos rather than serving the people of than serving the people, Guam will continue to see dilapidated schools, a struggling public hospital, and an underfunded and undermanned police department, not to mention a Baroque government. With that said, before you raise taxes and cut pay, cut your budget, consolidate office space, 3 senators per office, and reduce the number of people you have working for you. Senator Bob Klitsky ran his office with just 1 other person and did a great job. You can too. Cut the mayor's pay to 2014 levels and restrict the use of private vehicles. Do the same for the administration's budget. Cut the pay of appointed officials to 2014 levels. Mothball agencies and departments with redundant functions and prioritize the core mandated responsibilities of this government, which are health, safety, and education. If it's still not enough, look into reducing the number of mayors on this island to just 5 and turn this legislature into a part-time body. And if that's not enough, do more. Anything you can, because it's your responsibility. Ask not from an already overburdened public what they can do for you, but ask yourself what you can do for the public. Until this is done, don't tell an already overburdened public that you have to raise taxes and cut pay. You already raised the liquid fuel tax this year. Power has gone up significantly, and the prices of just about everything else will rise this year because of mismanagement, waste, and excess. Bill 244 and 245 will increase the cost of living on Guam and push the middle class further down the economic ladder, leading to reduced personal spending, which in turn will hurt government revenues and core government services. Most troubling is that people may start to leave this island not because they want to, but because they can't afford to live here. And what will happen to your tax base then? So I say no way. Find another way. No way to Bill 244 and no way to Bill 245. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bainham.
Andre is right. Until our elected politicians do the hard work they should have been doing for the past 4 years to reduce the cost of government and improve operations, they should not be coming back to the taxpayers and telling us to give them more. Because, frankly, we can't afford it. So, in order to prevent Guam from becoming the next Puerto Rico, we need to do 3 things as citizens. The first thing we need to do is like this post. Then share this post with family, friends, and coworkers so they will be informed about the latest information taking place in the People's House in their name by our senators. But more importantly, send an email. Let the senators know. No tax increase. You can find their emails on the GuamLegislature.com website. Click on the Senator tab and you will see the emails and phone number addresses for each senator.